Hello, class. Today we're going to learn about elements and compounds. We started looking at them yesterday. We're going to learn a little more today. What is the difference between the two, and why are they so important? As you watch this video, make sure to fill out the notes as we go. First off, what is an element? Let's get a definition. An element is a unique form of matter that is a building material for more complex matter. In other words, you need it to build more complex things, right? An element is the smallest piece of matter it is. You can't break down matter any smaller than to the elemental level. Some examples of elements include things like iron, aluminum, and copper. As you learned yesterday, all elements come with either a 1 or 2 letter symbol to represent them. For example, the symbol for iron is Fe, the symbol for aluminum is Al, and the symbol for copper is Cu. And elements are kind of like Legos. How is an element like a Lego? Elements are like Legos because Legos, just like elements, are the simple material that is a building block for more complex things. Additionally, you see this little yellow Lego on the screen. You can't break down that yellow Lego into smaller pieces. Just like you can't break down an element, let's say an element of iron, you can't break it down into different pieces. Different elements combine, though, to form compounds, just like different individual colored Legos come together to form bigger structures. And this goes on your notes. Different elements can be combined to form compounds. So what is a compound? Let's get a definition here for that. A compound is a substance that consists of 2 or more elements that are chemically bonded together. So compounds are slightly larger pieces of matter than elements. Remember, elements are our smallest pieces of matter possible. Some examples of compounds you're probably familiar with are water, salt, and glucose. Water is comprised of 3 elements, 2 H's, 2 hydrogens, and 1 O, 1 oxygen. Salt down here, also known as table salt, right? Scientists call it sodium chloride because it's made of 1 sodium atom and 1 chlorine atom combined to form the compound called salt. And lastly, glucose. Glucose is a type of sugar. Glucose is made up of 3 different elements. It's made up of 6 carbons, 12 hydrogens, and 6 oxygens come together to make the compound that makes your food sweet. Just like we said, a little Lego block is like an element, a Lego creation, like this Lego minion, is like a compound. How is this like a compound? Well, first off, it's made up of different elements or different Lego blocks. Just like a compound will always be made up of different elements. How many different elements or Lego blocks do you see in this little minion? I count blue, black, yellow, pink, and gray. So I see 5 different elements making up this compound. Additionally, how is it like a compound? It's also like a compound because it can be broken down into smaller pieces, right? If I lifted up this minion and smashed it on the ground, it would break up into lots of little different pieces, like lots of yellow, gray, blue, black pieces. Pretend that we can take an element and zoom in on it microscopically to see what its atoms or what its particles look like. If you were to zoom in on an element, all the atoms will be the same. So let's pretend we're going to zoom in on an oxygen element. We zoom in, all of its atoms are going to be the same, right? In this case, all of its atoms are oxygen atoms. Look at our key. Let's say we zoom in on a compound, though. In a compound, the atoms are going to be different, right? Zoom in on a compound. Right here, we're zooming on a compound that's made up of carbon, green, and hydrogen, blue. You would call this compound CH2, right? If we zoom in on a compound, we can see that it's not all made up of just the same color elements or same kind of elements. It's made up of different kinds. And this molecule right here could be broken down into smaller pieces. What could we break this molecule down into? If you said 2 blues and 1 green, you're right. And that's what makes the difference between an element and a compound. A lot of students will ask sometimes, well, how many elements are there? Like we know there's iron, copper, aluminum. How many total are there? Well, so far, scientists have discovered, drum roll please, 118 elements so far. To show you a brief timeline of when those were discovered, so right here I have a list of chemical elements listed by the year they were discovered. So you see with certain ones like copper, silver, gold, they've been around since ancient times. Like basically as long as we know, as long as we can tell, humans have known about these elements. But if we scroll down, we see that some elements like oxygen weren't discovered until 1774. Tungsten, 1783. Rhodium was discovered in 1803. Potassium in 1807. Scroll down even farther. Argon was discovered in 1894. Curium, 1944. Darmstadtium in 1994. They get harder to say the longer you go on. And this list actually isn't updated because if you look it up online, there are 4 new elements that were discovered and named last year to bring us to a total of 118 elements. Pretty awesome. And there could be more that are discovered in the future. But if there are 118 elements, how many compounds exist? Well, the answer to that is that there are tens of millions of compounds. Think of all the limitless ways you could combine elements in different combinations to make new compounds. That is definitely a reason to say, wow, right? Lots of different compounds. Guys, that's the difference between compounds and elements. That's all, folks. Go ahead and finish the rest of your work for today. And I hope you enjoyed this video.